Yeah, so I think I grew up in like in a rural area of Arkansas. First in my family to go to college, now the first in my family to go to law school. And I think just like the way I grew up, I always like pictured kind of like what I wanted to do like after high school. And I thought that having a law degree would be a great way to be able to help people. I didn't know exactly like what that would entail when I was in high school, thinking about wanting to become a lawyer, but it's just something from a very young age that I always thought would be a great way to be able to use my education to help other people. And so I think that's kind of like what has inspired me originally to go to law school and kind of what has like got me to this point now. Yeah, so I think when I first received the email to apply, I wasn't exactly sure what path was, but it just sounded like a great opportunity. I came into the university not knowing exactly how to do college because no one in my family had done it before, and so I was really eager to go to college and to get my undergraduate career started. But I also was nervous and didn't know what to expect, and I thought that it would just be a great community and just a great resource for me as I went through my college career, and so that's kind of what inspired me to apply. The PATH program was, I would say, the most transformative thing that I did in my undergraduate career. Um, Not only academically, but also my on-campus involvement, the job I had when I was a student at the University of Arkansas Honors College, um, the national internship I did with the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, my law school acceptances, all of that really stemmed from my involvement in the PATH program. Sochi, Michelle, they did an incredible job as really just providing us with everything that we needed to be successful, and whether or not we took it upon ourselves, to use those resources was, up to us. And I, from the very beginning, made the decision to really just involve myself with all the opportunities that were given to me from the PATH program. And so I think that has been, for sure, that is kind of like what set me up for my trajectory at the university, but also beyond. When I came into the university, I knew I wanted to go to law school. And so for me, from the very beginning, it was about trying to figure out how to get there. And so I would say like my application process probably started like my sophomore year when I decided to apply for an internship. And I worked a lot with Dr. Louise Hancock in the Honors College. She helped me throughout that process, as well as Dr. John Treat. And then after I got the internship, that summer I started working on my law school applications, and I kind of just roped the two of them in, and they never went away when it comes to the application process. They helped me when it came to writing all of my statements, um, figuring out where to apply once I got my LSAT scores in, and really just crafting the application to be able to tell my story of who I am and why I wanted to be a lawyer and why I wanted to go to that specific school. And so from the very beginning of that process, I really utilized the professionals in the Honors College to help me with craft that application to be able to tell like the best possible version of my story. Um, and so they were there with me throughout the entire process of applying to law school. Yeah, so I when I was like trying to figure out where to go, I kind of always knew that I wanted to get out of Arkansas. When I interned for the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, I applied in the spring of 2020. I think it was like early March when I submitted the application. A few weeks later, the world shut down because of the pandemic. And so when I was accepted to the program in May, I wasn't able to come to DC as originally planned. They had to make it an entirely virtual program. So I actually got to experience DC from a computer screen while I was in Arkansas. And so I think that was kind of like my first taste of really, really wanting to be in DC. And I thought when I was applying for law school, I knew that it was either going to be DC, it was either going to be DC or New York. Those are the two that I was really wanting to, those two legal markets I was really wanting to break into. Um, but before I actually got my acceptance into Georgetown and Columbia, which was another school that was on the top of my list, I received like a full ride scholarship to another law school that was in the South, and I was really considering it for a while. But I remember like talking to Dr. Hancock, and she just told me, like she was kind of telling me, that to not like be so quick to like accept that opportunity because more opportunities would be coming. Um, and sure enough, like a week or two later, I got into Georgetown. But even before I applied to Georgetown, I had sent like my final list of schools to Dr. John Treat. Um, and I left off, I believe, I know I left off Columbia. I probably left off Georgetown as well. And I remember he sent me an email back saying, like, what happened to Columbia? I thought that was like your dream school. And I basically told him, I didn't think I don't think I'm going to apply for it anymore. I don't think I'd be as strong as an applicant. And he pretty much told me, like to go for it. You don't know what's going to happen. So sure enough, I did apply to Georgetown, apply to Columbia, got into both schools, which I was super excited to. Also in a very competitive year for law school admissions. I think after when the world shut down for COVID, a lot of people, their career paths were kind of put on hold. And so a lot of people decided to apply to law school that same year. And so it turned out to be a very difficult year for law school admissions. Um, but I applied anyway after speaking to John and got into both schools. And so I definitely say I wouldn't have applied to Columbia for sure if I would have had that conversation with John. I think I would have let kind of like my fear of um, denial and rejection from keeping me from applying to those schools. And I'm glad that I listened to him because it turned out to be um, just great advice. And I think it's definitely in part why I'm in Georgetown now. Yeah, so life now at Georgetown is good. I'm going to my third year, which is crazy to think. I have had I spent my summer after my first year and second year of law school at two law firms. I plan to do commercial litigation. That's kind of like the career path for me. I will be I will be doing a full-time appellate litigation immersion clinic in the fall here at Georgetown. Um, and yeah, I think I'm just going in. I feel like now that I'm going to my third year, it's kind of like the culmination of all the hard work that I put in all the way from high school to undergrad, um, my first 2 years of law school. It feels like now it's all culminating into me getting ready to start my career as a lawyer. And so that's really exciting to think of really just all the hard work that I put in and all the people that helped me get to where I am. It's definitely all paid off. And I'm very grateful for the PATH program and all the people in the Honors College. Because I know without their support, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at today. And that's why every time I get a good news of a new opportunity, there's some of the first people that I think to send emails to an update because I know that no matter how far removed I am from Arkansas, the University of Arkansas, they're always there to support me. And so that's something that's um, it's always really I think important to have like people that are going to support you no matter what. And I definitely found that in the Honors College. I think for me, I'm most proud of getting into the law schools that I did and just like my whole law school admissions process because it was a whirlwind. Um, but I just remember like I don't think I'll ever forget that feeling of when I got the email from both Georgetown and both Columbia, just because I feel like before I applied, I kind of written like myself off of being able, to attain those admissions, and so I think that's what I've been most proud of. Um, Second to probably graduating from the University of Arkansas. That was a really proud moment for me. Just the fact that my name will forever be etched in the sidewalk at the University of Arkansas is something that's really means a lot to me because I am the first in my family to go to college and graduate from a four-year university, and so I think also just that feeling of being a graduate of the University of Arkansas is something that's also just makes me really proud and probably will continue to be like my proudest accomplishment. But you can ask me that again after I graduate next May from Georgetown because I have a feeling that'll maybe top that one just by a little bit. So I would. It's a lesson that I'm still learning. I actually just had a lesson this week. I had applied for federal clerkships and I actually got one. So I'm actually going to be clerking after law school for a federal judge. And even this past spring, I wasn't going to apply. The applications usually open around the summer after your second year of law school. And I knew that deep down it's something that I really wanted to do and wanted to go for. And I was having a conversation with one of my professors about it. He is the one that really encouraged me to just go for it. Like he told me, again, kind of like the same. He shared the similar sentiments that Dr. Treat did about not, making the decision for myself. Let someone else tell me no, basically. And so I went ahead and applied, and then I ended up getting a federal clerkship. So it's kind of like the same story that happened to me in undergrad when I originally left those schools off my list. I think I would go back and tell him, to go for every opportunity that there is and don't let the fear of rejection keep you from going for those opportunities because as long as you put your best foot forward, work hard and you put in the work, even if you don't get, you know, the outcome that you're wanting, you can be happy just knowing that you tried and that you gave it your all. And so I think that's what I would go back and tell like my past self, but also even a few months ago, I didn't believe that. But I think now that I'm going to my third year, having accomplished what I've been able to, I think I can try to implement that own advice for myself. It's definitely something that's difficult for me to do, but I think now, where given where I'm at now, it's something that I definitely like need to allow myself to actually listen to. But that's what I would tell him.